Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the first inaugural show for the Transportation Chronicles, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm going to be your host, Trevay Marquis Willis, coming straight live at 9:02 p.m. from Durham, North Carolina. I am a um, transportation guru. I'm a motor coach operator, school bus driver, author, part of the city council. Pretty much that's what my background is in this whole arena. And I started this channel, this show, in reference to pretty much the problems that we face in the whole transportation sector. Not a lot of people talk about the issues that go along with the whole transportation, issues that we're having out here in the United States. And the biggest crisis that we're having at this moment is transportation crisis, whether it's 18-wheelers, whether it's school buses, whether it's limousines, whether it's air travel. No matter what kind of transportation, you know, we have out here, you're going to also have the issues. And the biggest thing is me as being who I am. I've been in this game since 2008. The first thing I did was I started out, doing moving and courier. And then I went to the medical transportation side, limos, tour buses, all sorts of everything like that. So with that being said, I decided that it was going to be in favor to advocate for the people out here in the transportation world, to advocate cause of what we go through on a day-by-day basis. The first thing I wanted to do when I came up with this show was to pinpoint the issues we are having. Not a lot of people like to, speak up when it comes down to people in transportation. We have crisis situations going on all the way across the world. And this is where me as an advocate, me as so influential with the whole transportation arena, felt like it would be best to create a show for people that's going through with transportation. So the first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to start my inaugural show talking about the school bus crisis. Now, a lot of you guys, if you got kids, you send them to school through school transportation, school bus, or maybe you do carpool. But at the same time, what we have to realize is in this whole school bus arena is that sending our kids to school on a school bus is very it is a privilege, and not a lot of people realize that. We are having a crisis situation throughout the whole United States when it comes down to transportation for us getting our kids to school. Back when I grew up in the 90s. I grew up in a small town called Goldsboro, North Carolina. And a lot of people know, you guys know where that is. I pretty much, rode, the school bus to and from school. And we did not have these kind of problems when it came down to school transportation, getting to and from school. We had reliable bus drivers. We had reliable, buses. We had reliable mechanics. We had every single thing that was laid out for us when I was coming up in the 90s. It seems like now we are having more issues in this new age with school bus drivers. There's got to be a reason because of that. I don't understand, the in-depth of that. And that's why I decided to bring on two guests. It was originally one, but two guests that's going to talk to you guys tonight. And I'm going to ask us a series of questions. Now, I am experienced when it comes down to transportation, but these two individuals that I got on my show tonight, like I said, this is the Transportation Chronicles. We're talking about the good, the bad, the ugly out of it. But we have two guests on board tonight. One I'm going to introduce you to is Norberto Barbee. Norberto Barbee is from Durham, North Carolina. He is a former bus driver. He has spent 4 years into driving school buses, and then he transitioned into, dealing with the Thames. If you don't know what Thames is routing the the school bus routes and, things like that nature. And then we also have another guest that I'm gonna bring on after we talk to Barbie about this whole crisis situation. And she called me today and she said, basically, she said, I really want to talk to you about, this whole school bus crisis. And I said, well, hey, bring it on. Let's talk about this. And her name is Melanie Harris. She's a 12-year veteran with the Wake County Public Schools. She's a member of the Teamsters and also a member of the NCAE, where they serve on board directors. She has been a member of the North Carolina Association of Educators, known as NCAE, for 4 years, and has been working closely with them and also with the administrators with Wake County Public Schools, trying to make transportation better for all bus drivers and also hopefully for all of us transportation. Things that have gotten accomplished the past few years helped to orchestrate the school bus drivers and has spoken at several school board meetings. She was one of ones that was very influential in getting raises and bonuses for Wake County Public School transportation, along with 10 other drivers that she works closely with. They're working on a campaign to help drivers more safe on the job by taking online student behavior when it comes to transportation in Wake County Public Schools. Simply because as bus drivers, what is a transportation family as a whole, they are currently looked over when we are faced with issues. This is why we advocate. This is why we're here. And this is why we're here tonight. Because we need to talk about these issues and the issues that we're going forward. So I'm going to bring on the first guest. I'm going to bring on Norberto Barbee. And Norberto is going to talk to you guys. And then we're going to bring on Melanie. We're all going to talk as a roundtable. Hey, Barbie, this is Trevay. How you doing?
What up, Willis? How you doing?
I'm good, my friend. I'm good. I'm just so happy to be here. What a pleasant honor to bring you and Melanie on for the first show. And I'm gonna bring Melanie on too while we're here because I'm gonna ask you guys a series of questions. You don't mind about that, do you?
No, you can put her on. You can put her in while we're
Okay.
in, like all
Yeah,
three of
yeah.
us together.
Okay, I don't see her up here anymore. Maybe she'll chime back in. Can you explain to me who you are and what was your role again for the people with Durham County Public Schools?
So again, my name is Norberto Barbee. I worked with Durham Public School as a previous bus driver for about 4 years. And then I switched over to TIMS, which is Transportation Information Management System, where I did the routes for the northern portion of Durham. So pretty much from DSA all the way up to Rougemount. And also I did um, EC bus routes for stops, adding stops, also stop appeals, and I also did billing for field trips and special assignments.
Gotcha. Okay. And are you currently still with Durham County, or you transitioned to something else?
Boy, you know good. I ain't with no Durham public schools no more.
Hey, I didn't know if you were still on the sub list. I
Oh,
didn't know what the good role was going on.
nah, they tried to send me an email asking am I interested coming back, and nah.
Okay. So Barbie, let me ask you a question, my friend.
All right.
You're kind of like me. You're a well-rounded guy. You kind of do some of everything. You did truck driving. You did the school bus system. Now, as I know, you're a nurse, Durham County native. Um, Barbie, what is going on with the school system, man? What is going on? We got, there's a school bus shortage of drivers across the United States. Durham County right now is suffering very bad. Um, as I introduced myself earlier, I am a sub driver for Durham County, but sometimes it's best to get other people's input on what's going on. What is really going on here, man? Why can't Durham County keep any drivers?
Well, first, the first ordeal is that I always tell people don't leave jobs, they leave managers. So when someone leaves a job, they're not leaving the job, they're leaving a manager. Is the lack of support from schools administrators and lack of support from your office administrators.
Wow. Okay. So, what do you feel like is the number one issue that Durham County or any other school district in the state of North Carolina, the United States, really what do you think really they're dealing with more of a problem with? Is the local management, or is it the higher management?
Um, I think it's a little bit of both. Um, because it's only so much your office staff can do.
Right.
And it's only so much that your downtown management can do. But the voices are not being heard. And it's really a smack in the face when you give the drivers a raise and then make them pay back because they say, "Oh, we overpaid you." That's a smack in the face. Very disrespectful, in my opinion.
Okay, so you're saying basically that somebody's giving me some money, okay, and then okay, here you go. We're going to give you, $150, but then you've been an Indian giver and then you're taking it back.
Yeah, yeah, taking it back or making them pay. Like they'll be like, "Oh, we paid you $100 or $50 too much, so you got to pay the $50 back, pretty much."
Okay, that doesn't make sense. That's crazy. Like I
Yeah,
don't I don't get it because like I stated earlier, when I was coming up, we didn't have these problems with bus drivers, but it seems like now that there's more issues now, um, you know, nowadays with drivers. Do you think that the school is supporting the drivers? Do you think that we're getting the support that we need?
I I think some schools are, and some schools are, but not all of them. And the one is support with the discipline on the bus. Um, we're not well, they're not. And when I was driving and I was office staff, we were not getting support from a lot of schools. We've even had schools tell us that because what people fail to realize in the public school system, the administrators of that school that they're driving for is actually in charge of that bus. So if the administrator wants you to do 3 laps around the school and then pull in backwards, that's what you got to do with the administrator. They're in charge of the bus. So we've had some schools, like we try to make safety features, like have the kids walk in front of the bus instead of behind the bus. And we've
Yeah.
had assistant principals, I ain't gonna say any names, of elementary schools that has completely said, "I run this, I do it the way I want to do it." And there's really no way, nothing that office staff can do. Or you have schools that would do like in-school suspension for behaviors that was happening on the bus, and that doesn't help the behavior on the bus.
So, I know growing up, and I reference back to my childhood, I used to get in trouble on the bus, and I'm just going to be real with everybody. I used to get on trouble on the bus, and the driver already knew my grandmother, they knew my
Mhm.
mom, and they were straightening my behind out. Why is it now you hear about more issues with unruly children, and why is it that now it's so hard to keep these kids under control?
It starts at home, bro. It starts at home. We even have parents that we've had charged with trespassing for getting on a school bus at a bus stop, for arguing with the kids or trying to fight the kids. That we'll have to have Durham PD review the camera or Durham County Sheriff's Office to review the footage to put out warrants for parents. We've had to move bus stops because parents couldn't get along. So a good example of that is Oxford Manor. We have a stop right there on what's that, Danube, and then the other side, which service Oxford Manor, because two parents couldn't get along. So we created two separate stops. Um,
Not
we've even
Durham,
had, huh?
not Durham, Oxford Manor.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah. And
Golly.
and and really we see this when we try, well, especially administration at the school, when they try to bring up their child's behavior on the bus and they just don't believe it, or you have parents ready to fight the teachers and the bus driver. There's been bus drivers that have been fought, and then not only that, we've had I hope I ain't saying too much, but we even suspected or investigated that a bus driver set up a student to be shot.
Whoa.
It was on the news. If you go back on the news and look up Durham Public Schools shooting I think it was at Old Oxford. The driver was suspected of setting up a hit on a student that got in a fight with their family or something the day before. And on the video footage, it showed the driver texting somebody while the bus is in motion, which he shouldn't be doing in the first place. And as soon as the kid got off the bus, several shots were fired. Luckily, the child didn't get hit or the bus didn't get hit, but Durham PD did an investigation. Durham Public Schools did an investigation. I kind of stayed out of it, but it was definitely suspected that the bus driver planned a hit on a student.
Oh my God. Oh man, that is wild. We send our kids to school every single day, but we don't think about these type of things when it comes down to violence because like I said back in the day, we didn't really hear about these issues that goes on. Wow, this is taking me for a spin right here. Why can you tell me this? And I'm gonna bring on Melanie because I see her back in the queue. Why don't drivers want to drive anymore? Like, what is it? Is the pay more of the issue, or is the students?
It's a little bit of both. Like I heard Wake County is starting out pay is $21 and then Durham Public Schools is going to send me an email after working in a management position and driving for X amount of years, asking am I interested to come back for $19.24? Absolutely not. I can't do anything with it. Even if I want to do it as a part-time, absolutely not.
Wow.
And then you also have the kids behavior that's the issue, and you don't have the support from management. We don't hear back from the schools when we send in them disciplinary. Schools don't get back with us. It's a constant revolving door that drivers feel the lack of support, and the kids are not being managed properly, and they try to teach you management of your bus, but there's so much you can do for kids that's cussing at you, throwing stuff at you while you're driving, threatening to fight you. There have even been bus drivers in Durham Public Schools that have been hospitalized because of a student fighting a driver. And not only to mention, I don't know if people remember on the news or the bus on I think it was the east side, they got shot in the driver's window.
So basically, you got to drive a school bus with a bulletproof vest on nowadays.
We had one at the Southwest Division wear a bulletproof vest while he drove the bus.
Yes. 50 Cent driving the
bus. Yep, because I mean, we have found that we have had kids that had machetes on the bus, reported of a gun on the bus. It's just, yeah.
Wow.
We've had kids jumping out the back of the bus while it's moving, jumping out the window, opening up fire exits and everything. And these kids get a slap on the wrist. And you're going down North Newton Street and a kid jumps out the window while it's moving. What is the driver to do?
Wow. Oh my God. That's crazy. I'm gonna bring on my guest Melanie. I want her to elaborate what's going on with the school system. We're gonna all talk about this and what we can talk about to make the school bus driving position better, and what will it take to fill these driver shortages. I'm gonna bring her on. And hey Melanie, how you doing?
Hi.
Good to have you on the show. I heard you was important people down there in Wake County. I heard you was top notch. I did my investigation on you afterwards.
Oh, you did your investigation. I hope you found great things.
Melody, I got Norberto Barbee. He, as you know, he's from Durham County. And Norberto, this is Melanie. She's from Wake County. Melanie, what is going on with the school bus system? What is really going on? Why do we have so many drivers that's not want to drive? Why are they taking the CDLs, going everywhere else? And tell me, what do you think we can do to solve these issues? Tell me what's going on. I want y'all to spill the tea tonight.
Well, first of all, I would like to start off by saying thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Well, when it comes to Wake Public Schools, like I said, I've been a 12-year veteran. I'm coming up on year 13, and I love my job. We have a good group of people that work there. However, the reason why we cannot keep and retain drivers is because of the pay and also because of student behavior. Over the past couple of years, we've monitored the pay. It is not perfect. It's not what we would like it to be. However, it's better than it was.
Was.
Yes.
Because
So
I remember when I first started. Sorry to cut you off. I remember. I think we're getting some feedback from you, Melanie. If you can come to the mic a little bit. Um, I remember back in 2000. Let me see. Was it 14? When I started, my starting pay was $11 an hour, and that was in 2014 as a part-time driver. So, what is the starting pay now for Wake County?
it's $20.
$20. And Barbie, what is the starting pay for Durham County?
I think it's like 19 and some change.
19. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
Melanie, I feel like in Barbie, I feel that one detractor when it comes down to the school system driving the school buses is a fact of the monthly pay. Now, are you guys still on the monthly pay? I know Durham County is every 2 weeks now, but are you guys monthly or every 2 weeks?
Starting in January, we will be getting paid bi-monthly. So we will no longer be getting paid monthly anymore. And that
Wow.
was what we campaigned for last 2 years. We fought and we won.
Wow. Okay. So, what have you fought for when it came down to the drivers? I know today we spoke on just briefly. You were saying that you was speaking on the driver's behalf, but elaborate on what really have you been speaking on and what have you been advocating on for the drivers in Wake County.
Well, for one, we started with a campaign for better pay, which we got. And not only did we get bonuses and raises up to $4,000, but we also ended up getting a pay raise where the starting pay now is $20 an hour.
Okay.
And every driver that was already there went up a pay scale.
Okay. So this is a question for both of you guys. I talked to someone the other day, with I know with Durham County, and I know they stated that there was 30 people in the last CDL class to become a school bus driver. Okay, I'm not sure really how many numbers it was when it came down to uh, Wake County, but my question is, why is there so many people that takes the class and when they graduate they're still short? Because I'm sure from what I was told by was a DPS, that they run a class once a month. So if you're doing like say 15 to 20 drivers in these classes between Durham County and Wake County, why is it still a shortage?
Well, to be quite honest, the class is not easy. It's really not. They'll start off with, say, a large number of people, and then as they go through the class, some people can't pass the written part. That's one part. Then,
Mhm.
if they do get past the written part, some of them they'll get on the road and they'll do fine. But then, when it comes to the drug test, they fail. That's another thing.
Wow.
Then if you really want to get technical about the situation, but this is what really happens is when when they train them sometimes on routes where the kids may not be rowdy, or sometimes it's an empty bus. So if you're not used to having a rough route, like I will honestly say, I have a route at one of my schools that I personally drive that they went through 6 drivers before they got to me. I've been their driver at it's an elementary school.
Mhm.
And once I got there, I had that has been my permanent route. When I'm not there, the sub drivers they catch it. So for a person that's just coming in the door and you may be new, you never drove a commercial vehicle, it is a lot to drive a mobile classroom with 30 plus kids in the back. doing all different types of things. Everything you can name of is going on while
Oh,
you driving down the highways and byways of Wake County, whether that's on Capitol Boulevard, Glenwood Avenue. It could even be over in residential areas. And everybody can, this is not a job. I want to say this right here. This is not a job that is for the weak.
right.
And this job is also a service
Yes.
because you don't never know who these kids are that you're transporting. We transport a lot of kids that come from bad situations, some better
Mm,
than others. But nevertheless, when people sign up for this job, they have to understand that you're here to do a service. You didn't get this job to become rich. So if getting paid like big bucks is what you're looking for, this is not the job for you. You might as well
wow.
go work at central office or somewhere else. As a bus driver or even as a teacher, you will never get paid exactly what you need to be paid or what you deserve. You won't. But you get paid in other ways. And the people who come to these classes, they get behind the wheel with the kids, and it could be their first day behind the wheel of the bus without the person that's training them, and they can't handle it. It's too
Right.
much.
Right.
Even sometimes, if there is a monitor, it's too much.
Too much.
Sometimes it's too much for the monitor. Some routes are bad enough where they have monitors from the school up this way. So it all depends on the individual. When I first started back in 2011, my first time riding, when I had rode with a sub, well, she wasn't a sub, it was her route. I was nervous because that's a big vehicle and I'm used to being in a car or whatever and I'm driving. But it's different when you got somebody else's kids in the back
Wow.
and you're responsible for those lives. This is not Amazon. We are not transporting packages. We got lives. Okay. So
So
you got to understand, like everybody can't do this job. A lot of people leave because of the discipline, because the kids are, some of these kids, I don't want to call them bad, but it's a lot to take
so
on.
so Melanie or Barbie, I want to ask y'all a question about your experiences driving buses because I could tell you my experience. I didn't get, when I was driving for Wake County years ago, I was driving from Millbrook District before I went over to Broughton. And, the middle school route was terrible. Like they are always the terriblest kids ever. And, I had a kid get on the bus one day and tell me to drive the effing bus, and mind your business. And I wrote this kid up. But guess what? The kid was on the bus the next day. I wrote half the bus up until I got them under control. But I feel I didn't get any support when it came from the office staff. How Barbie or Melanie, how was your experience?
Well, I'll go first. Like I
Okay.
said, I've been doing this for 12 years. Um, I have been cursed out. I have been threatened by students and by parents. There was an incident one time where I was driving for Martin Middle School, which is a school I'm still currently driving for, and I am in Broughton's district. Shout out to my Broughton family. Um, but I had said something to the kids on the bus about their behavior. The kids spoke a different language because they were Spanish. They went home and told their parents something totally different than what was actually said.
Wow.
The next morning, I had 8 parents at my bus stop wanting to fight. So I've been like this past school year, I've had a kindergartner throw a hairbrush at me because I simply asked her to sit down. Um, I've even had fights on my bus. One year I had a fight on my bus between a boy and a girl. We was actually on I-540. And if you're a bus driver, we have nothing but a cell phone. So I had to, pull the bus over. And luckily the kids on the bus is the ones who broke the bus fight up because we are not allowed to touch them because if we do, that's our job because they can say we hit them, which you already know that's that gray area. So
And they know that.
that's been my experience. But we've also recently had an issue with one of our middle schools where it's a route that's over in Raleigh North where a fight happened and the police had to be called We have situations where parents don't get along with other parents and they have restraining orders on each other, and they neighbors. And I hate to say it, but the truth of the matter is, when it comes to dealing with race, and I know that's something that they don't like to talk about, but I mean, if we're gonna be real, let's just call it what it is.
Hey, be
When
real.
it comes to the Caucasian kids and the Asian American kids, we dealing with white privilege. That's just what it
Wow.
is. But when you dealing with our kids, the black and brown, oh my God, they are out of control. They don't like to talk about it. They like to keep it hush hush. But the truth of the matter is, that's what it be. I mean, because you try to work with them, you try to understand, but I mean, they'll cuss you out. They want to fight. The parents is just as aggressive. If you got routes where you got parents that's willing to stand with you and let the kid know or check their child right there where they stand, you lucky. But if you are not fortunate enough to have that, you deal with parents who want to fight, parents who get mad and say their kid would never. But the parents who say what their kid would never do, them be the kids that be doing.
He ain't do nothing.
He did it.
Little Johnny is not bad. It's you that's the problem.
No, because they have seating charts, they have rules. We go over these rules. We go over these rules all the time. These kids know. Now, the elementary schoolers, kindergarten, and I drive some pre-K kids sometimes. Like pre-K through first grade, I can understand because they still getting acclimated into school. But once you have hit second grade and up, you know what it is. You
Yeah.
don't need nobody to tell you to sit down. You don't need to have nobody tell you to keep your head out the window while we're going by trees. You shouldn't be calling nobody all out their name, wanting to fight, bringing weapons on the bus. But see, when we talk candidly about the real issues here, which it all boils down to, and I know this is not the question that you asked, but I'm just being real.
Well, be real.
These parents need to be held accountable,
Yeah.
period, because it
Yeah.
starts at home. They
Yeah.
don't want you to say anything to their child. And I just like for people that's watching to think about this. When you go to this bus stop and you cuss a bus driver out or talk ugly to that bus driver, understand this. If something happens on that bus, who is supposed to protect your child? If a person comes to that bus looking for your child because they was bullying somebody, or they may not even be looking for your child, they looking for somebody on that bus. What stops that person getting to those kids on that bus? It's the bus driver.
Wow.
See, when they inside the school, they have the doors. They have to go through different, levels of security before they can even get to a classroom. But on a school bus, where the protection at? We are the least protected. We
Wow.
don't have nothing but a cell phone and a video camera that may work sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
But when you get to talking like that, that's things they don't want to talk about, but it's true. And what I would like to do, along with a lot of people in transportation, especially my team that I work with, we want to make our school bus safer. That's why
Yeah.
we're running a campaign this school year on student behavior, because enough is enough. It's not fair that a child has to ride the bus and be unsafe because someone else's child cannot hold it together.
Wow. Mm.
And until they start holding these parents accountable, holding administration accountable, none of this will stop. And I think a lot of it is the department heads either know, or because nobody's saying nothing, they don't move on it. But enough is enough, because what is it going to take for a bus to get shot up and there's casualties? Is it going to take for a kid to bring a gun on the bus and shoot the bus up? Because think about it. How do most of those kids get to school?
Yeah.
On the bus.
On the bus.
If a bus driver gets threatened by a student, what's to stop that child from bringing a weapon to use on that driver? Then
Right.
what?
Right. It's like the new age kids. They don't have any respect, and it's making the job more difficult. To be honest with you, it's making the job difficult dealing with the students, and then it's also making the job difficult dealing with the upper management. and the combination together is putting a toll on these drivers, and that's part of the reason why we can't keep good drivers. Because in reality, how do you get your CDLs? How do a lot of people that want to drive school buses even get their CDLs? Tell me, one of y'all, tell me the easiest way to do it so people out there can know. Because a lot of people think that you got to go to CDL school to get your CDLs, but how do you get your CDLs? And why do people and tell me, why do they leave? And what's the easiest way to get your CDLs?
Through the school system.
School system. Yeah.
Through the school system. You get your CDLs, they don't hold you to it, which I think they need to stop doing that. And we have brought that up, that there's no need for us to put out money to fund for someone to come through the door and say, hey, I want to drive school buses. And we say, okay. And then they let them in. They go through the training and everything. They don't hold them on a contract. They ride with the kids. And then they might work for about a week or two and they quit. What they
Wow.
need to do is hold them to it 6 months to a year. The reason being is so they can regenerate their money. Because if they just gonna walk through the door, then that means that that's money that could be used in other spaces. Because transportation is the most overlooked department, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, it is.
I can't speak for that and the cafeteria workers.
Wow.
Well, I can say more of when I was in the office in the management position is a lot of issues with a lot of your kids that have behavior issues on the bus also have behavior issues in the classroom, and a lot of them have
Mhm.
IEPs. So when it comes to disciplinary actions against a student that has an IEP, the way DPI and way the state of North Carolina is for individuals with educational plan, you have to go by the steps of disciplinary actions, or a suspension or anything like that becomes null. So if they're having those behavior issues on the bus, and they suspend them from school, they have I forgot what it's called. I can't remember what it's called, but they actually have a meeting and they ask, did you follow every step on this individual IEP plan? And if the answer is no, that child immediately go back to school. Suspension is now null. And one thing also is that you mentioned the race issue. Yes, yes, it's definitely a race issue in the school system. And the one issue with that too is that what we're dealing with all over, not just Durham or Wake County, is that black kids are being suspended disproportionately. You have a lot more black kids getting suspended from school than whites, Caucasians, and stuff like
Wow.
that. And what a lot of people don't know, your school get paid based off attendance. So if you suspending these kids off the bus left or right, and those kids can't get to school, that becomes an issue with pay for the school. It
So
also becomes an issue with truancy because the child is missing too many days. So it's like it's a bad area to be in. And the kids know you can't touch them because they have an IEP, or their mama gonna come up to the school. There are some parents that's trespass from the school that try to come and fight the teacher or the principals. But like she
Mhm.
said, we don't have SROs on the school bus, but the school has SROs on the school bus. I mean, at the school, and you also have a ton of staff that can help out versus you on a bus with 64 elementary kids and it's only you.
Mhm.
wow. So guys, let me ask you this question. So you mean to tell me that they get paid per kid that rides the bus? Is that how the school
No, no,
system
no. They get paid
attendance?
based off the attendance. And if they're not able to ride the bus and that's their only transportation to school, there go your money.
Okay, because I've heard rumors over the years that they get paid per person that rides the bus.
It's based off attendance. Now, what you're probably
Yeah.
thinking of is contract work. So I dealt with the contracts too of people that ride what's it called? Like I don't want to throw a company out there or anything like that, but those vans that says official school transportation,
Sheila's
Yes.
Transportation with the pretty vans. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Some of them pretty now. Some of them be squeaking
Barbie.
pulling up to the school. Like, oh, you might want to fix your brakes, dog. But so yes, we do pay. Durham Public Schools do pay, and we only put kids on a contract bus. I mean, a contract van, if we cannot get them on a bus. And most of the time, they're McKinney-Vento, which McKinney-Vento is anyone can live in Durham County and get a ride from any district. So if they live in North Durham, all the way in Rougemont, and they got to go to, let me see, a non-magnet school, they got to go to Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
They get transportation. You know, whether we contract them through a van or we can contract the parent to take them to school. Now, I did billing for that as well. And I think I contracted a parent almost $7,000 to take their own child to school for 2 months.
Whoa. Hold on, dog. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
You said that y'all paid a parent $7,000 to take somebody to take the kids to school.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Bruh.
I thought I had my numbers wrong, but I gave it to my manager. She was like, that looks right. Send it on. So, you know, and then if the parent can't take them, we could do something where we contract a staff, like the teacher, and we'll pay the teacher to pick the child up. They want the kids to be in school because you got to have that attendance, and you got to make sure that the kids get a certain amount of days of education, or then you deal with truancy issues. And a lot of them, you don't want the sheriff's office pulling up to their house to see what kind of condition they might be in, because you're going to have some other problems. Because I know bus drivers, they notice some neglect of kids on the buses, how the kids smell. You have kids coming to school with roaches on them, bed bugs. So it's kind of that thing. You gotta meet it in the middle, but definitely. And it comes from the office too. So I want to highlight the office. So the office don't have say-so on who can ride and who can't ride. That is the school. So even though a bus driver reported to the office transportation saying this boy threw a bottle and hit a car, that has to go through the school, and the school does the discipline of a day off the bus, 2 days off the bus. The office staff has no say-so over that. Wow. So it kind of puts the office staff in a hard position. Now, me, when I was in there, I would tell the school, no, he's not getting on the bus. And I will handle the consequences, whatever happens.
Wow.
Because I want to support the driver. And if I can take a child off a bus to keep a driver that can take 30 more kids, absolutely, especially if it's justified. And I think they need to take that power away from the school and give it to your office staff. Your office staff has drove buses, know how hard it is to be learning. Imagine a substitute that's learning a route, never did it, and you got little Johnny up there jumping up and down, smacking people in the back of the head while you going down a busy road. That's uncalled for. And for the schools to do such a light punishment because attendance is the issue. And then I also see your office staff has favorites.
Oh,
office staff has favorites.
You about to be like Mike on Why Did I Get Married? You about to spill that tea, ain't you? I feel it coming.
Yeah, it's coming. So office staff has favorites. One particular incident, one of the bus drivers. So Durham Public School has a policy when it comes to a vehicle wreck. They only drug test if there's injuries or the bus has to be towed. Those are the only time they do a drug test. Now, keep in mind, I went to a wreck versus a bus versus a truck off of I-85, right over there by Northgate.
Mm-hmm.
I got there. My manager said, call me and let me know if this is worthy for a drug test. I said, okay, if it meets the criteria, if someone is injured or the bus had to be towed. Well, this individual driver was not one of her favorite drivers. So when I got there, I said, no, this does not meet the criteria for a drug test. When I got back to the compound, I see that the drug man is there, and I'm like, somebody. I told them this don't meet the criteria. They was like, well, she called us anyway. He needs to take a piss test. Granted, he took the piss test and failed, but we had a same incident with a white bus driver. And his met the criteria because his bus had to be towed. Was he asked to pee in a cup? Nope. And let's not talk about when they say we can't give you your route back from last year. Oh, we can't do this. Let me tell you, it's people that's been in the school service that had that bus route since they almost started. That same route. And for them to say they can't give you that same route, that's bullshit. I did the routes for the northern, and we don't even make that much changes to the routes. I might add a stop, take off a stop, or add another school to that tier for that bus. But absolutely, the old driver can have that route back, and they have their favorites. Just like
so they have clicks.
Oh, absolutely. And I didn't think it was right. And another thing with them is the biggest thing is AC and heat on the buses. I don't care what bus you take, as long as you do your route. So a lot of people, their bus will break down. Their normal bus have AC. It's hot as hell outside. It's 90 something degrees. They have AC. They bus break down. They ask, can I take such and such a bus because that bus have AC and nobody's using it? Our manager would say, no, you can't take that bus. Take one of the spare buses because we can't change it in the system. That's a lie. I can change it in the damn system. Can do it all the time. I could even send out a mass message to all the parents and say bus such and such will be substituting for this bus. And I can go and change it in the GPS where on your parent app, it'll be tracking that bus that I allowed them to take. That has
wow.
It just when they always used to come to me and say, Berto, can I take this bus? I was like, yeah, nobody's using it, take it. And my manager come up, why you let them take that bus? That's not a spare. It's 100 degrees outside and it's got AC on it.
So can I ask both of y'all a question? And I want to know this. This is a really important question I've been waiting to ask all night. Okay, we got drivers out here that's fighting to make ends meet. We got drivers out here that are working part-time jobs. They're single moms, single dads. Some are, and I'm not knocking this. I hope nobody don't hang me for what I'm going to say. But you got drivers that's on the system, doing the very best they can do to make ends meet in their life. Why is it hard for Durham or Wake County to just pay these drivers what they're asking for? You hear about Durham County, you hear about Wake County, you hear about Mecklenburg County. They're buying all these brand new buses. They're buying these buses with these cameras. They're buying these expensive camera systems to catch drivers that pass the stop school bus arms, which they don't probably ever look at anyway. You've got and some of them don't even work. Why is it such an issue to not pay these drivers, but you're investing so much money in this bogus equipment, and you got drivers that's unsatisfied? I mean, and where would you get the money from to pay these drivers? If they can't pay these drivers, where do they get the money to buy this equipment from?
Well, if I may, first of all, when you're talking about pay, it's already a war on public schools anyway.
Wow.
Like, I'm a part of the NCAE, which is the North Carolina Association of Educators. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that we are currently doing. You won't always be fighting for public schools.
Yeah.
People don't realize how important public schools are until there's no more public schools. People don't understand what is occurring when it comes to public schools. So when you say about the pay, like I stated earlier, You are never gonna get rich driving a school
Right.
bus, working in the cafeteria, or even being a teacher.
Right.
They pay a judge more than they pay a teacher. That tells you
Hmm.
something right there. And then not only that, you got to think about the funding for public schools. And then
Right.
you saying, well, where is the money coming from? The money's there. It's just a matter of them spending it, I guess, where they feel that it needs to go. But, here in Wake County, the issues they have in Durham, it's not that much different than what we have here, but I don't think it's to that extreme when it comes to
Hmm.
transportation. Because down this way, for example, the NCAE, which is also in Durham, they there in Durham. Down
Wow.
here we have a HVAC campaign going, but that's going to take some time as well. So I don't know if it's the fact that they trying to get money from the state or from the county, how that's running together. I do know at certain school complexes they do have buses that are propane in their sitting, and we shouldn't never purchase those buses
Or electric.
or electric. Those
Yeah.
buses should not be there. I do know that they do have buses that are sitting that they may be auction off for to like churches and stuff. But to be quite honest, they could use the money that they use when it comes to, I don't know, for example, the company cars.
Hmm.
The company cars, there are a lot of them. And to
Girl,
be quite honest, some of
they
the
can't even
some of
get
the
some
company
haircuts in them
cars,
cars.
like some of the company cars, I understand in certain situations, like an operations manager should not be driving a little car because they have to lug around too much stuff. They need
Mhm.
one of them trucks that some of them area managers be driving.
Right.
You talk about you talk about the ones they use to go take their kids to go get a haircut.
Well, I don't know about, I can't
Yeah.
speak on things I don't know about. I don't know about what goes on in Durham. I just know about Wake County. But what I will say is there's a lot of money that could be allocated when we talking about transportation down here in Wake County, that could be allocated for parts for buses so the buses don't break down. They hire more people that can fix HVACs to make sure that the buses are disinfected really well with the kids, especially during cold and flu season, to making sure that there's enough PPE supply for, bus drivers down this way. We have to supply our own cleaning supplies at certain districts. You know what I'm saying? Like, or, using that money for more than just throwing it away in a hole for buses we don't need.
Wow.
I can tell you
That's
right
just
now.
that's just the way I see it. Like I said, I'm not in Durham County, so I can't speak on what goes on up that way. I only know what I hear from the news, but I know what happens in Wake County.
Barbie.
I can tell you one of the dumbest shits that Durham Public School did is put them damn tablets in the buses for directions. Keep in mind the tablet's so damn low, you got to take your eyes off the road, first of all. And you don't even supposed to be using a GPS or forward facing any type of device while operating a school bus.
So y'all have
So
devices
a
Yep.
tablet.
yeah, no, we have a tablet, but we don't
That's
have that. We still driving with papers.
That's and the paper was dumb as hell too. But the tablet was even dumber because you driving a bus that's in motion and it's so low that you literally got to take your eyes off the road. Everybody knows split second like that, taking your eyes off the road can cause a wreck.
But the problem is, though, they want us to hold the paper for the routes. They want us to look at tablets, but they don't want us to have our cell phones using for directions.
Can't
When
use
I
GPS.
was doing my research, that was this summer. I had switched my certification over to Durham County from, I believe it was Wake County.
Mm-hmm.
The lady from DMV basically told me. She said, you're not supposed to have your phone in the driver's area. I said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but what if there's a issue with Tim's the route that obviously I can't use can't it's giving me the wrong directions. She said you can have a kid in the back holding your phone, and you can listen to it audibly
Mm-hmm.
on turn by turn direction.
Yeah.
So my question is, why should I have my phone, allowing a student to use my phone for GPS directions if Tim is inaccurate, or if those tablets, which those tablets don't hardly ever work because
Mm-hmm.
they'll have you turning into the woods,
Mm-hmm.
or they'll have you going left when really Tim's on the paper is telling you to go right.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it? It's like it's backwards. Why is it that you don't want me? You're so quick to fire people for having your phone in the driver's area, but you want me to hold a paper and take both my hands off the steering wheel, or you want me to look down for directions on a tablet. That doesn't make sense.
They enforce what they want to enforce. Like, they petty about certain things, and and then it also depends on who you are. Because if you go in there and cuss their ass out, they'll probably leave you alone most of the time. And Durham do that a lot. I know people that will go in that office and turn it inside out. But a lot of them are petty. They look at your shoes, because you don't supposed to have open toe shoes. And the back of the shoe is not secured and stuff like that. But they pick and choose who they want to enforce that on. And they be ready to send you home for that, and be like, well, who's going to cover this damn bus if you're going to send somebody home for wearing Crocs, kind of thing. But I think, me personally, I think it's much safer for them to have that earbud in their ear, phone down with the GPS on, and 100 feet, turn left, versus looking down at a tablet or got a damn paper while they driving with your elbows and shit, trying to flip the paper. It doesn't work that way. And Lord forbid, if you're not from that side of town, you're not going to know those little side streets. So, like, if I was to go to Wake County and drive a school bus, even with me having office experience with Tim's, me been driving school buses, me driving 18-wheelers, my first time on that route would be hell, especially if I got bad kids on the bus. Because we even had drivers dropping kids off on a 4-lane highway divided by a turning lane and having them cross all the way over.
Wow.
We've had drivers do that. We've had drivers block off a 4-lane highway, catapulting the bus sideways to have kids run across a 4-lane highway divided by a turning lane.
Wow.
Well, I think, not to cut you off, I think that when it comes to routing, I think the way that it needs to be done is they need to change it and listen to the bus driver.
Right.
And the reason being is because we're out there on the road, and we know, like he said, sometimes it can tell you to turn left, but you turn left and it could be a dead end.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could turn right and you can't turn right because you got to go left. So it all depends, and I think that if the routing department listened to the driver, that would cut down on a lot of confusion with the routes. Because, like he said, nobody wants to be holding a paper or looking at a tablet, trying to figure out where to go with 30 or 40 plus kids in the back. Because that route is going to be way longer than it's supposed to be. Because Tim's have you going all over the world just to make one stop.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is about this whole situation is, when you go to your upper management and you talk to them and you share your concerns with them and you tell them how you feel and you complain and you just basically tell them all the inconsistencies, what's going on, it's like some of them really don't care. And I got that experience with OMs in Wake County. Now, there were some good ones. Shout out to Mr. Martin Horton. Mr. Martin Horton was a real G. Shout out to Byron Lanier. Byron Lanier was a true G in Wake County. But you also have, other people that was in upper management that really seemed like they didn't care. I'm not really going to call any names, but there was a area manager that really got under my skin, because when you go to them with concerns and when you go to them with issues, they act like they never been bus drivers. They act like that they are invincible. Like, your words, you don't talk to me. You talk to that person and you let that person talk to me. They look down on you. And, I asked one time, I'm so blunt and so vocal about my mouth is so reckless sometimes. I said, I asked this OM, I said, what, do you feel like you're better than these drivers? I said, because of the fact, you were once a driver. And sometimes I feel like, you act like you weren't a driver before. These concerns that we bring to you as drivers, you act like and you make it appear to us as we're stupid. And we're only bringing valid concerns because we are on these routes every single day. But then when we come to you, you're talking down to us, you're disrespecting us. And I said, you must, really forget that, you need us. And I think they forget that because how many times do you guys know that all these drivers call out on an every single day basis and nothing's done? It's so easy. On a regular job, you call out 2-3 times, you get terminated. But a lot of times these bus drivers come out here, they'll call out 5 times in 1 week. But yet you sit and you still talk down to us and you act like you're too goody two shoes to really hear our concerns and hear our complaints and things like that. And this OM, this area manager was out of Wake County, but I hate that. It's like we don't exist. It's like your words don't matter.
Oh, I was waiting for you to finish.
I'm done speaking about
What I
that.
wanted to say, as far as they go with the management situation with the area managers, I will say that I have been blessed to not have to deal with an area manager that acts like that. And I've been blessed to be at Broughton Transportation and work under the two people that you named who are immaculate,
Phenomenal.
phenomenal.
Love them.
One thing I will say is this: in Wake County, one thing they must stop doing is inside hiring. Stop hiring your friend, your cousin, and all of them. Give other drivers the opportunity. I'm sorry, it's true. They got to stop doing that because sometimes your homegirl got bad customer service skills. And a lot of times, one of the things that we want to advocate for also is the fact that they need to start having them take customer service courses. Meaning you need to learn how to talk to somebody. Because like you said, we got an area manager here in Wake County that she forgot
What's
that
her
she
name?
used to be a bus driver.
What's her name?
I'm not gonna name drop, but if anybody know, then you know exactly who I'm talking to. There's some operations managers that don't know how to talk to folks.
Right.
And then when that driver gets on their neck, now you want to call HR. But you cannot do that because you talk to your people the way you want to be talked to. You ain't gonna go work somewhere and talk to people any kind of way and expect for them to put out good work. It don't work like that. You got to be solid. If you the area manager, then you should hold yourself to a certain standard. But we have some. Well, I've only encountered, one that tends to forget that you was once one of us.
Right.
Like there are a couple of OMs that forgot. So sometimes I think what they need to do is they need to put them back in their place and in the upper management and let them know, like, listen, your job can be taken away just as sure as you got it because you don't know how to talk to people. And really, I want to say this: until bus drivers learn how to band together in solidarity and stop being scared to stand up and speak, we're gonna keep running into it. Now, one thing that I did learn by working with NCAE is that one person cannot do it all. Two
Right.
people can't get it done. But if you can get a majority or all people that's in under the same conditions to stand together, change will happen.
Right.
It's nothing more frustrating than hearing bus drivers talk about the issues that we have, and it happens all the time amongst each other. Why are you talking to another bus driver about what's going on? Why are you not going to somebody that can fix the problem? You say come to a school board meeting and speak on how you feel. They don't want to show up because they don't want their face on camera. Well, put on a mask or something. I don't care what you do, but you need to speak up. Because some drivers are veteran drivers and they halfway out the door, so they don't care, which I think is very selfish.
Right. It
Because
is.
what about the ones that's coming in after you? You can't think about yourself. So They need to stop a lot of that. And some of them OMs and operations managers need to be replaced.
Let me ask you a question. For one of you guys, and I want both of you guys to answer this question. And this is a very important question for other bus drivers out there. How effective are the unions in North Carolina when it comes down to bus drivers? Is the unions like UPS? Are they like Pepsi or all these other companies? Or are they a little bit not effective in North Carolina? Because when I was driving for Wake County years ago, there was this lady, wonderful lady named Gwen Sconyers. She used to advocate and talk to us a lot about the unions, joining the union, joining the union, joining the union, up until she retired. But is the unions very effective in North Carolina when it comes down to the school bus system, or are they not really that effective?
Well, I can I can speak on it a little bit since I am prior law enforcement and I study law. I'm not an attorney or nothing like that. But I think what a lot of people fail to realize is that North Carolina is not a union state. Second of all, in a public entity or a public job, you're not allowed to strike or anything like that. You can actually be terminated for that. So it's like DPS is allowing it, but they don't have to allow it because North Carolina is not a union state. But again, we're stronger in numbers because if 100 bus drivers decide to go on strike, you're not going to fire 100 bus drivers. But if you have two of them standing on business, we can lose two of them, go ahead and terminate them, and we keep doing what we're doing. But I would say for a fact, I love Durham Public School bus drivers because when they come together, they raise hell. And I love it. It's been plenty of times I've sat in that office and we're trying to get routes covered and we cannot make it happen because we have had so many drivers call out at once. And I ain't gonna lie to you, there has been times I knew drivers wouldn't call out and I kept my mouth shut until they started calling in. It is not my business to go ahead and tell everybody in management, oh, the drivers are striking. I'd be like, do what y'all do. So one phone call after another, everybody calling out. And I'd be like, well, we can't get these routes covered. And I stand with them. Like, shoot, I was a driver too. So I'm not going to sit here and blow y'all stuff. Call out. If you got PTO, call out. You're sick, you got diarrhea or something. And, our area manager, she used to say, I don't care about people's feelings. I don't care. They call me a bitch and I am a bitch. I don't care about them. And that was at the Northern Transportation.
Not Southwest, right?
No. Southwest, Denise Prince, amazing. I love her if she's watching this. But ours at Northern Division, she said, I don't care. I don't care at all. Like, so when people, they even make you feel bad when you call out. They were like, why are you calling out? You should come in. What about the kids? You don't care about the kids. They make you feel bad. And
the kids are bad.
You don't even supposed to do that in North Carolina. And also, you don't supposed to ask for a reason of you calling out in the state of North Carolina. So it's kind of that thing, because she got on me for not getting a reason from a driver. I was like, I don't have to ask them why they're calling out. Shit, I don't care. They can be in the parking lot and call out. I don't care. It's what am I going to do? Drag the driver in and say, get on the bus? But going back to the question, unfortunately, and on top of that, North Carolina is an at-will employer. So they can hire you and fire you for any reason they want to, long as it's not discriminatory against race, sex, gender, or anything, or disability and stuff like that. So I feel like if we can get the state of North Carolina legislator and stuff like that to really hone on becoming a state that authorize a union to be a union, it'll be much stronger. And I think a lot of people be less scared.
Gotcha. Melanie, what's your intake?
Okay, well, like I told you, I am a member of both Teamsters and NCAE. And one thing I do know, as far as when it comes to what happened in Durham, when the drivers in Durham organized, it was a union that helped them. It wasn't the drivers by themselves. They had help. So unions do matter. Yeah. I urge all bus drivers to get under a union as a level of protection so you can know your rights as a worker. So you can know that you are not by yourself and that if you choose to take a stand, that you have somebody that's standing with you. See, with Teamsters, it's nothing to them except for I know for a fact that they work solely in transportation. However, with NCAE and the NCAE that's in Durham County, see, with them, it's public school workers. See, with my union, we're wall to wall, so it affects everybody. So to say that unions don't matter is not true because they do. We get
Yeah.
jobs done, we get the
Yeah.
work done, feet on
Hmm.
the ground.
Right.
And NCAE Team Wake wins. That's what we do. We win. Durham County, they stood in solidarity because had they not said anything, then they would be sitting there right now paying that money back. I mean, if you really want to get technical about it, that was something that they needed help on because see, with transportation, what happens is when you're talking about being a part of a union, you got to have union leaders that's willing to stand in the gaps. Because just calling out and saying I'm sick, I can't come to work because of this, that, and third, that ain't gonna get the job done. You got to
Mm-mm.
be their feet on the ground. When they run these campaigns, it's to help you as a worker. So
Right.
I would urge any driver, anybody who works in the public schools to join a union, whether it's Teamsters or whether it's NCAE. I'm a part of both. In NCAE, I'm on the board of directors because we needed a face there to say, hey, we're transportation and we got a lot we want to say, and there's some things that need to change. And because we stood
Wow.
in solidarity with them and we gained drivers that joined, that's why we were able to get those bonuses and raises. That's why when we did our sick out, we was able to stand in solidarity. That's why on Wednesdays we wear red to let people know that we're here. So to say that unions don't matter, I know North Carolina is an at-will state. I know all the rules and regulations. I get that, but at the end of the day, if there is something there that can help you, why wouldn't you take it?
Right.
Why wouldn't you sign up?
Hmm.
And for anybody on this on this podcast that wants to join NCAE as a bus driver, your dues are $36 a month. That's what your dues are. And with those dues come a lot of different things. So if you interested and you want to sign up, all you got to do is hit my inbox and we can sit down and have a conversation. And I can let you know why NCAE is the place for you or Teamsters.
So is your name
That's all I got
Melanie
to say about that.
Melanie Harris on Facebook, right?
Yes, it is.
Gotcha. All right. So I got one last and final question for the, and then we're gonna wrap it up, and then we'll probably do a part two. But going forward, with 2025 getting ready to next month, we got the drivers upset about not getting what they want and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel like that something's going to budge in 2025 for the school bus drivers? Do you think that there's going to be a change, or do you still think that we're still going to be having this issue this time next year?
I think a change is coming. I
Hmm.
know here in Wake County, like I told you, we are running a campaign for student behavior so
Hmm.
that we can get everybody on one accord, one chain. So then that way we can do the work that needs to be done. So what does that mean? That means getting the higher ups, the department heads on the same chain as the area managers, as the administrators at the school, the working hand in hand with the OMs, the team leaders, the bus driver, the parent, and the student, holding these parents accountable for their students' behavior, making sure that bus drivers are being put in the spaces that we need to be in. Like, for example, when they have back to school and open houses, if you drive for that school and they elementary level, you need to be at that school so they can put a face with their bus number. So when
Right.
green bus roll up, hey, green bus is Miss M, which that's
Right.
what my kids call me. whatever color bus, roll up, elephant, whatever, you know that that's your bus driver, and you talk to that bus driver, and in that way they can build a relationship. But also making sure that administration understands that when these write-ups come through and the AP and them don't do nothing about it, the area manager ain't doing nothing about it, then upper management needs to handle that. And all these schools with all these routes that have issues
Wow.
like Carroll, Riverband, Martin Middle School. It's and the list goes on and on. Start
Hmm.
holding these kids and their parents accountable. When you tell little Johnny he can't ride the bus because he threatened the bus driver or because he was being unsafe, throwing objects or slapping kids or whatever he was doing, then they need to hold little Johnny to that. And
Right.
stop giving these kids multiple chances to do things and you keep slapping them on the wrist because what they are telling them is that when you do certain behaviors, that it's okay and it's fine, but not getting them to understand that when in the real world, when you do that, the consequences are more dire.
More
And they
dire.
need
Yep.
to start respecting public school workers as a whole. That's bus drivers, teachers, safety assistants, the whole nine.
Right.
Because what
Um,
happens if nobody shows up to work? Then
yeah.
what? We are not a babysitting service.
Right. That's true.
Well, I think that I hope they do something because if they don't, it's only going to get worse. They can't keep putting a band-aid on something because it's going to come off at some point. And they really have to look at management. Like I said when the start of this podcast, people do not leave jobs because of the job. They leave management. They leave their managers. And if they don't do something about it, we're gonna be in the issue where people are gonna be going to charter schools. And
Yeah.
not even to mention, Durham Public Schools pay the charter school for the school that's in the public school system district to go to a charter school.
Wow.
So if your child lives in a public school system district and wants to go to a charter school, Durham Public Schools pay that charter school for that one student. So you're gonna lose and it's really not all about pay all the time. It's your management, how you're treated as a bus driver or
Right.
staff or anything like that. You could pay somebody $25 an hour, but if you go into an environment where you don't feel welcome and it's a hostile working environment or harassment, yeah, harassment environment by staff and stuff, you're not going to keep them. So they're going to have to do something, or it's going to get worse.
Wow. And I agree. I agree with both you guys. And to be honest with you, is deeply devoted I am into this whole transportation thing, even with the school system. I pray and hope things do get better. Because you got to understand something. You know, we got people that's been there for 20 plus years and they're still not making top pay.
Yeah.
Spoke with a driver the other day that's been there like 22 years, and I believe she was only making what, like $21 an hour.
Oh shit.
And the thing is, that's what almost what they're starting off drivers now. This person should be at $30 an hour. And you know, the thing about it is, you know, this is what bothers me. This is what bothers me. What bothers me is whenever bus drivers do come together and form together and form an alliance and they bond together and saying what we're not going to do because we demand better pay. What pisses me off the most is when WRAL or ABC advertises it, you always have idiot people get in the comments and say, well, what do they expect this to be, a career? This is just something temporarily. And I get so upset and I start commenting underneath, the different idiots that post that, like, these are actual jobs and it's a hard job dealing with someone else's bad tail child. And it breaks my heart that they will make a comment like, we're nothing, we're animals, or, things to that nature, because, it's like they're looking down upon bus drivers because this is the choice that we made. No, this is what we like to do. But at the same time, it's more hard to do this job than any other job. So, like you stated, we're not going to get rich. As me, I'm a sub driver. I work part time, but we're never going to get rich. But I still think that this job should pay a comfortable salary so that these drivers, these single moms that don't have husbands or support system to survive, to be able to pay their bills and live comfortably, to send their child to college, offer good benefits. That's what my intake on it is. It shouldn't be that these drivers should be stressed out with dealing with these threatening children, threatening moms and dads coming to the bus stop trying to fight them. In my opinion, they should get hazard pay. I think that, you give, all these other professions hazard pay. You need to give these bus drivers hazard pay, especially in daggone Durham, North Carolina, because, like Norberto was saying, buses getting shot up. And then I've also heard from the trainer that basically did my research that some of the buses going to neighborhoods getting shot at by drive-by shooting. They're caught up in the drive-by shooting. So me personally, my opinion, we're all entitled to our own opinion, that these bus drivers should get hazard pay for what they deal with. These comments of the public stating, they shouldn't be complaining and whining. And then on top of that, Durham County's on this 4-day rational, school bus schedule now, where, we're only going to take your kids to school 4 days out of the week. Now, the media portrayed it as the bus drivers were going to be only working 4 days a week. And let me clarify that. Mm-hmm. Bus drivers are not working 4 days a week. They're working 5 days a week. They're just cutting out, your route for one time a week so that they can accompany these other routes. That's what leadership basically stated what they wanted to do. So this whole thing of coming at us and attacking us based on the fact of, oh, we're lazy, we only want to work 4 days a week, but we're demanding more money, that's all a crock of crap, because we're working 5 days a week, but we're only doing your route 4 days a week. So I want to clarify that, because a lot of drivers, it seems like that when leadership comes to these conclusions that they're going to make these decisions, they don't clarify it, in a good terminology to let the public know, and the media takes it and construes it over, and we end up getting attacked for it based off of them not fully making it understandable for people out there in the community. We got attacked for that big time. Oh, you mean to tell me you guys are not going to transport 5 days a week? You're only going to be working 4 days a week? No. Hold up. We're working 5 days a week. Me, I work 3, but because I do other stuff. But for everybody else, it's full time. They're working 5 days a week, but they're only transporting, your kids or whatever for 4 days a week. So I want to clarify that. Guys, is there anything that you guys want to say before I end this podcast? It's been a pleasure to have you guys on the show tonight. We're going to do a part 2 in the future. This is the brand new podcast that I've actually implemented to talk about the issues with transportation, not just school buses, not anything. But I just want to ask you guys if anything else that you guys want to bring up.
Well, one of the things that I would like to say is, I think that the drivers that are watching this needs to understand that don't ever think for 1 second that the job that you do does not matter, because it does. Our job is not easy, because we are not transporting Amazon packages. We are transporting lives. And the only way that we can create change, we're going to have to stand up. We're going to have to speak on things that is uncomfortable. And we're going to have to do what has to get done in order for successful and for us to create change on our work site. That's the only way it's going to happen. There's no more time to sit around and talk about it amongst each other. There's no more time to waste time. It's time to stand up and do what got to be done. So
Right.
I challenge all the bus drivers, whether in Durham County, Wake County, and abroad, to take a stand and say no more. So if you see that something is not right at your work site, speak up. Stop talking to each other about it and go to someone who can actually do something about it. That's all I got to say.
Gotcha. Norberto.
Only thing I got to say is, drivers, office staff, use your PTO and your sick leave. Before you know it, if you lose your job, they will find somebody to take it. Take time for yourself. Your mental health is everything. Don't let these people stress you out. Take your PTO, take your sick leave. And like I said, you're replaceable, but your mental health is not. So if you feel like you need a mental health day, call out. Call out. Live your life. Have fun. Like, don't stress it. Don't stress it. Mental health is the real wealth.
Gotcha. Guys, I want to thank you guys for personally being on the show tonight. If you guys have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I've been on YouTube for about 4 years. I am big into the non-emergency medical transportation. I do seminars, I do videos, I do some of everything. This is my brand new podcast. Please like and subscribe. We'll be talking about many other issues every other Sunday night at 9 o'clock pertaining to transportation. If you want to donate to the channel, please donate to the channel. Using Cash App, my phone number 919-588-9052. Guys, I just want to thank you guys for being on the show tonight and coming forth and being open and transparent about the school bus system and the school bus shortage. Hopefully this video inspires other drivers to really take a stance when it comes down to getting what they deserve. Like you said, we will never get rich off of being a school bus driver, but we can actually make a difference and stand together and get more of what the change that they're giving us. So guys, I would like to thank you guys for being on the show. I look forward to collaborating with you guys more in the future. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for your wisdom. Norberto, thank you so much, brother. Melanie, thank you once again. Thank everybody that's on the call. I appreciate your love and support. Like I said, like and subscribe, share this podcast once it becomes on YouTube. And guys, once again, I'm signing off. Much love. Thank you for watching the Trevay Willis, the Transportation Chronicles, the good, the bad, the ugly to transportation. I'm out, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.